They're the juvenile delinquents of the bear world.
Go on, get!
Pushing boundaries,
Put it down.
defying authority,
You're bad, bear!
and breaking all the rules.
These guys are full-blown knuckleheads.
I need everybody to move this area.
It's critical to teach them right from wrong.
Go on, get! Get!
Bears that don't learn die. Do you understand what's going on?
And it's one man's mission to keep them alive.
It's all right, come on down, let's go.
Steve Searles, the Bear Whisperer.
Get out of there! You bad bear!
You're gonna have to work this out.
This season, one bear causes a public scene.
It's kind of exciting.
Get out of here, go on!
3 bears face down Steve,
No.
while another shocks the entire community.
If the bear's on scene, it'll be shot on sight.
Go now.
I heard a growl.
The unthinkable has happened.
He walked right up in front of me.
A visitor in town has 2 mysterious puncture wounds.
There's 2 on scene right now.
Did one of Steve's bears cross the line?
That kind of thing will get you killed.
What is that right there?
This is the Mammoth Lakes Bear Report. Skies are clear, winds are calm. Looks like another gorgeous day in Mammoth.
Spring in the eastern Sierras. The start of the 6-month feeding season when Mammoth Lake's most celebrated residents make their way back into town.
We've got 2 young bears up in a tree. Not sure what they're gonna do next, but tune in later and we'll let you know.
That's amazing. How cool.
Look at him.
Thousands and thousands of people have seen bears in my community, and I'm proud of it.
I never got this close to a bear.
If you catch a big fish here in Mammoth, you'll tell the story, 10 or 15 times. You see a bear in Mammoth, and you'll repeat that story for the rest of your life.
And the chances of seeing a bear here are good from mid-April to late October, when they go back into hibernation. Thanks to Steve, the town successfully coexists with the local bear population all summer long.
Steve has put Mammoth farther ahead than other communities. And I think it's because he's got that on-the-ground, out-of-book experience. Steve does it his way, and he does it based on long years of trial and error.
There's a really long list of successes and bears that are just push-button bears, I call them. Half Bib, Big Red, the Big Blonde. All those are examples of bears that have not been involved in issues. They're just trouble-free, and they're just a pleasure to have living in our community.
But many bears don't start out this way. Often the biggest challenge for Steve comes from the youngest bears.
What in the world?
They would be the teenagers of the Bear Society, and just like we grew out of those dumb things that we did, they're just in the sharpest part of the learning curve.
Get out of there.
If we were 60 miles out in the wilderness with this same scenario, are those 1 year and year and a half old cubs any smarter? Heck no. They can get in trouble falling out of trees, falling into swift water predators, coyote, other male bears. It's just a matter of learning what is scary and dangerous and what's not.
In the life cycle of a California black bear, cubs are taught by their mothers.
In the spring, the bears will emerge. The females will nurture their young, teaching the young what to eat, how to eat, where to obtain the food. And that's a very critical time for a cub life. After about 1.5 to 2 years, the female will push off the cubs to go find an area or a territory of their own.
If young bears want to live in Mammoth Lakes, they must learn to navigate a human society.
Go on now, get out. Hey, get out of there. Go on, get out. Get out of there.
So Steve often plays the role of surrogate parent.
They don't have the benefit of their mother teaching them, so I'll try to step in and do what I can to help them learn the ways of man.
There you go, let's go.
To teach them, Steve uses a variety of non-lethal techniques.
He can literally yell and scream and just use his voice if need be, bang a baseball bat and scare him in that manner.
Go back.
He also uses what they call flashbangs that are noise devices that sizzle and whiz as they go past the bear to scare it. And he also, in many cases, will use a rubber bullet, which just gives the bear a good sting and lets him feel like this isn't where I want to be. I'm getting the heck out of here.
You bad bear.
Bears that are a little bit too friendly or getting into garages or stealing out of cars, that kind of thing. I typically spend more time tracking them, following them, reprimanding them.
Hey, what are you doing here? You bad bear.
It's just an ongoing conversation and education for me and the bears. Is that you, Ace? Is that you? One of my most favorite bears and probably one of Mammoth's biggest success stories.
Ace was once the town's most notorious young bear.
Come on, get out of there.
It has broken into as many as 8 or 9 homes. About half of those homes have been occupied.
Police were ordered to shoot Ace on sight.
I'm not willing to compromise a human life to save a bear.
But Steve believed he could turn the young bear around.
What are you doing?
He tried every non-lethal technique he had. Finally, it paid off.
Get out of here.
Hasn't been responsible for a single 911 call in all last year and all so far this year. I'm very glad you're alive.
Every year there's another Ace, but nothing could prepare Steve for the challenge of this season's young bears.
I'm on a wildlife one. I'm gonna be out for crowd control.
We're just gonna roll up here to Lincoln House at the village. The last couple of nights,
A young bear was
swimming in the pond, and it makes for a cute story, but it's just not okay. North Village is a multi-story mall setting with lots of restaurants and people and activities. Mono 1, Wildlife 1.
Wildlife 111.
It's a small cub in a tree in North Village, and we'll be staying on scene until the bears left the area.
Copy, 10-4.
Could you move back, please? If you interviewed the 200 people that were there, they'd all say it was neat or cute.
It's kind of exciting.
That's for sure.
People aren't intimidated by small bears.
Typically, you know, you'll see people that'll put their kids right up next to the bears, want to take pictures with them. They have this idea that the bears are pets or they're friendly. That's not it. They're actually, you know, they're wild animals. They can be dangerous.
I need everybody to move this area.
When the bear comes down the tree, I'm likely going to shoot him on the ass with a rubber bullet and let him know it's not okay to be with the guests and everybody here having dinner.
An hour later, night is fast approaching. The crowd is growing.
Can you see his face? Yeah.
And the young bear refuses to come down.
As far as bear calls go, this is kind of my worst nightmare. Go now.
He's going to be moving pretty quickly, so we want to make sure that there's a way for the bear to get out, that, you know, we're not going to run him right into some people and get them scared or injured.
He's trying to come down. There's too many people around.
I'm going to stay right here on scene until he touches that grass, and when he does, I'm going to light him up with rubber cock.
It's a 12-gauge rubber slug. Gets shot at him. Doesn't typically break the skin or cause any permanent damage to him. We are backed up on the police department. We have 12-gauge shotguns. If the bear turns and charges Steve or charges into the crowd or becomes a threat to the public, then we're there able to stop that and put the bear down immediately.
He could stay up there for days if he wanted to. He can obviously outlast us. I predict that as the crowd winds down and people are quieter, he'll come down.
Oh, he's coming.
Get out of here.
out of here! You bad bear!
Wow.
It's pretty sound good.
Yes.
Would have scared me back.
Once it hit the ground, he tagged the bear with multiple rubber buckshots, but it's definitely going to get their attention and tell them he probably shouldn't be in here.
Obviously, the bear has learned quite a lesson. I'd much rather fire 4 rounds of rubber, striking the bear, and then have him shot or killed at a later date. If he needs any more education, we can do that for him too, but hopefully that'll be enough for tonight, and we won't have any more issues with this young bear in with a bunch of people. Mono 1, Wildlife 1. I'll be 98 from the call and patrolling the area.
This year's bear season has just begun.
There's 3 bears playing in the pond on the golf course right now.
The 3 young bears are the first to make it into town.
Copy that, thank you.
After a chaotic night with one of them, Steve is on high alert.
They won't be far. All right. All right. Wow. Very cool, man. Oh. Oh, what kind of way is that to come down? The 2 of the bears are siblings. The third, oh, stop. What was that? You're gonna have to practice. The third one is not a litter mate. These 3 bears are just playing and they're not doing anything wrong. I just want them to get into harm's way. When they're roughhousing like this, they forget where they are. Hello, it's the knuckleheads. When it comes to young bears under 2, I don't name them because, you know, statistically half of them are gonna die. And so maybe to preserve my own feelings and preserve the community's feelings, unless it's necessary, I try to not name those young bears until they're after 2. Oh, that's beautiful. There's my paycheck this week. Pretty rough on each other. Those teeth are very, very sharp. And even though they look like a teddy bear or something, they can inflict harm. It's all part of the learning process for these bears and the pecking order that they're gonna slowly grow into. There you go. Beat them up. Beat them up. Hello. Oh. You know, I see the most worst stuff in my life, and then I see the coolest stuff, and it makes me feel weird sometimes, and this is really, really cool, and fills my heart, you know. It makes me want to go out and help the little guys even more. Hello. Hello. You're all right. I don't know who's babysitting who sometimes. Probably a 50-50. The bears help me as much as I help them. That's a pretty fair deal. What is it? What is it? Uh-oh. They are arguing. Is that trash? It. Hey, you guys, put it down. Hey. No, 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 no. No.
One of the most important lessons for these young bears to learn is to stay away from unnatural foods.
Put it down. No trash. No. No. No, no, no. Get out of there. No. Look at it all over your face. Move away. For brains. It's some kind of... turkey breast skins. That's not what's in here. It smells like ranch dressing. That's what it is. We gotta keep
human food out of bears because it draws a connection between the people and then the food source. And so the bear does become conditioned to come back for that same food source.
But even after being chased off, the bears are back and willing to defy Steve to get what they want.
No. Knock it off. Move away. Move away. How dare you? No. You guys need to learn. Go over there and get in the tree. Go on. Go on. You've worn out your welcome. No. Do not challenge people for food. They're testing their boundaries. No.
2 of the young bears back away, but the 3rd bear returns. To send the message that this behavior will not be tolerated, Steve stands by with pepper spray.
Part of my job is cruel to be kind, to educate that bear that this has got to stop. This stuff works great. They don't like it one single bit, and hopefully that'll teach them a lesson for today. Don't be challenging me or anybody else over a food source at all. That is absolutely off limits.
It's a lose-lose situation for the bear. When the bear has unnatural food sources that it relies on, it becomes more aggressive, it gets closer to humans more often, and unfortunately it may result in the loss of a bear life, which is one thing we're trying to avoid at all costs here in Mammoth.
During bear season, Steve works 7 days a week and is on call 24 hours a day.
Probably my strongest thing I have in my life is my wife and my son. Just a hug from my son or a hug from my wife means a lot to me.
I have been in Mammoth since 1985. I met Steve through friends. I used to see him at parties and stuff.
Behind every great man is a greater woman. I get the applause and all the thank yous, and my wife does everything that makes my lifestyle possible.
On the agenda this morning, helping Steve maintain his distinctive mountain man look.
Been trimming Steve's beard for maybe close to 20 years. The last time he shaved and had a haircut was on our wedding day 20 years ago.
20 or 16 days and 3 hours.
And
knock it up, hon. A trim, please.
my dad actually gave him the haircut. I think Steve was more nervous getting his haircut by my dad than actually getting married. Steve's routine in bear season is like a puppy or a dog or a kid. Comes home when he's thirsty and hungry.
Thanks, hon.
Oh, hang on, I see a couple of strays already.
4 weeks into the feeding season, the 3 young bears are now venturing out individually, looking for food.
There's 2 things that a bear goes through. They're wandering about the woods looking for whatever they can encounter during their normal course of action. But if they encounter something new, they'll still try it.
My neighbor just called and there's a bear, so we're gonna go take a look.
A bear can smell food 3 miles away, and one of the young bears is drawn to a picnic table in a residential neighborhood. When Steve arrives, the bear is gone.
Look at all this garbage. Holy cow. Wow. Oh, these people are just pigs. It looks like some pizza boxes and stuff.
My neighbors were so irresponsible and disrespectful that they left all their garbage out, and the bear was hooking into it, and it just breaks my heart. You know, I love the bears, and it's just the epitome of the struggle I face every day.
All this trash needs to be picked up. The bear's been standing here eating the. You can clean up up right now.
People make a bad bear, actually, by allowing them to become habituated to our food and trash and other things. So it's really a people problem.
20 minutes later,
Hello.
the same bear has been spotted less than a mile away.
We'll be on our way. No. Get out of there. Get out of there. Go on now. Get. Knock it off. Hi. We just followed him up here and seen him in your trash. Is there somewhere I could lock this up? It's full. The people that live in Mammoth will tolerate more from the bears than I will. I know the bears individually, and when they mess up or at the wrong place at the wrong time, I really take it personally. I don't want them to have that extra strike against them.
The young bear has backed himself into a corner.
A bear! A bear!
He's now between apartment buildings and a busy highway.
He doesn't belong in this situation. He can see the traffic, the cars going by. We want him to be uncomfortable. We want him to have a bad time. He can't be hanging out in the middle of the day on the main street of Mammoth, or we'll end up picking him off the road, or he'll get himself into other trouble. Hey, we're not gonna chase the bear. We're not gonna do that.
It's right there.
Hey. Leave this one alone. I'm gonna have to get a lot more heavy-handed with the young bear. The more time that we're on him, just like a child or a dog, the repetitious reprimanding of bears that sometimes is necessary. I'm 100% sure that I'll be working with the bear again, if not today, tomorrow.
Bears remember locations where they've been successful finding food. So the next day, Steve returns to the same area the bear had gotten into trouble. Sure enough, the young bear is back.
There he is. Damn it. No trash. Get out of there. Hey, get out of there. Hey, no trash. How dare you? No. Go on. Get out of there. You bad bear. I barely lit him up with a little bit of rubber buckshot and let him know, that you're welcome to be here, but only on our rules. And that's what I do. I spank.
But there are 3 young bears this season, and Steve can't be everywhere at once.
These small bears that we work with every year, they can be a handful. It takes a village to raise a child. It takes our town to raise these silly little bears.
As the feeding season heats up, Steve gets busier.
That single round deployed out on Sierra Star for just a bear grazing near the tourist.
By midsummer, he patrols day and night, looking for things that might get his bears into trouble. Like open dumpsters.
Well, I just pulled up, and this is the first one I found. When you hook this little guy, the bear, with all his might, can't break this chain. And so, unhooked, it's easily opened and defeated. We'll just see, maybe the trash company just emptied it. Nope, it's got trash in it. And so there is the problem. Leaving the dumpster unlocked is just no good. And is there a connection between feeding bears in a town and getting them shot? There really is. Don't ever feed a bear where you don't want them to come back to.
Feeding bears certainly does happen. It's important for people to understand that it's not something that's allowed under town law in the town of Mammoth Lakes, under state law or under federal law. It puts them at risk. It's habituating them to an unnatural situation. It's making it comfortable for them to get close to people. It can lead to that bear's destruction.
Steve is called out to the local town yard to help a man who's in a standoff with a bear.
A guy's down at the town fuel pumps who's asking for me in particular to come down, that the bear is not moving away from him and the gas pumps so that he could refuel.
The local town yard, where police cars and buses are serviced, is only blocks away from the industrial dumping yards. When Steve arrives, the bear is gone.
What'd the bear look like?
He wasn't that big.
Uh-huh.
But he just like right up between this rock and this small tree where that light pointing out where he just went.
Yeah.
But he sat right here for the longest time until as soon as you pull in is when he took off.
Steve spots trash on the hillside. And more unlocked dumpsters.
What the friggin' heck? You can't blame that on tourists.
This is just the epitome of the struggle I face every day. To see them eating unnatural food and people being irresponsible can lead to more and more problems.
By the height of the season, the big bears have moved into the most desirable feeding areas, pushing out the smaller bears. And sometimes, the smaller bears resort to dangerous measures to get what they want.
It's the condominium project, and it's been reported that the bears are hopping the fences and getting into the trash cans. Uh-oh. There he is. There he is, running with trash in front of the car. It's going to be a really small bear, dark head, and kind of a light-colored cape. And it does look like a female.
Steve gets a closer look. This is far more serious than just a bear foraging through trash.
It just blew out the window of that car.
Breaking into cars is exactly the kind of bad behavior that, if left unchecked, can lead to a bear losing its life.
I want the bear to reapproach and hop in that car again. I'll teach her a lesson she'll never, ever forget. Yeah, I can see it from here, and it's going to re-enter the car.
Before he can deal with the bear, Steve is distracted.
Look at all these folks.
You're going to tranquilize it?
No. Nobody does that in California. The bear can either live here and have good manners or won't live at all. So what I do is teach bears and teach them good respect for people in situations they shouldn't be in.
So how do you?
Rubber bullets, pyrotechnics, flashbang devices, pepper spray, all kinds of different devices. Not just to scare them, but to teach them what they're not allowed to do and what they're allowed to do. Yeah.
So where did it go? Did you see it? Or did
I don't know, but I didn't realize you were standing here, and I'm glad I did.
Once Steve is assured the group will stay where they are, he goes back to look for the bear.
The bear's right there.
He went back into where the bear had hidden, and next thing we know, we hear like 3 or 4 big, loud bam, 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 bam.
Get out of here! Go on, get!
The girls are freaking out, and we're kind of scared.
You bad bear, get!
The rounds that I fired were all non-lethal. The first rounds struck the bear. The other rounds did not, but sure lets the bear know this is not a good thing to be doing. You bad bear!
After running the bear off, Steve finds a candy wrapper.
Chocolate.
That leads him to a trail of food left in the car.
We can see bagels on the floor, water, drinks. They're really lucky they didn't have more damage than this. They had both windows down a little bit with the doors locked, and so the bear just pulled on it one time and popped it.
I mean, we learned a valuable lesson ourselves to just kind of, keep our cars clean.
Immediately I tell my kids, go clean your cars out, take everything out of it.
all the candy, any soda, anything else. So they did.
We're going to continue to patrol the area. This car owner gets the free sticker. And they're not going to get fined for feeding bears. I think that the damage that's done says enough for that. Hello. Yes? We'll be on our way. Thank you. A friend of mine just called me, and a young cub is in his backyard. We're just going to run up there and see which bear it is.
The homes in Mammoth butt up against the forest, and many of the residents like to document the bears in town.
To me, they're like the spirit of the forest. I call them the spirit of the forest because they're so quiet. I mean, you can be walking and not even realize they're there. One of the reasons we have so many bears in this particular area is we have everything here that the bears need to live. We have the woodland where they can get privacy and sleep back here, which they do, and can get away from people and other bears and have a peaceful existence.
But this young bear hasn't come here to relax.
He's trying to figure out how to get that bird feeder down.
Birdseed is very nutritious. The seeds are packed with fats and oils that they require, as well as protein. They readily will take to it and enjoy it immensely. It's almost like ice cream to them.
People in Mammoth are encouraged to get the bird feeders so that the bears can't get to them, because they potentially could associate bird feeders with homes and houses. So what we've done is we've strung wire between pine trees, a long run of wire up very high. He then ended up going to a neighbor's house. And she just happened to have set her bird feeders up out on branches, hoping that the bear couldn't reach out far enough to grab them. Actually just grabbed it and crunched it in half.
Go on, get up there. Go on. Go on, get. Go on, get. That's the crack cocaine of a bear's life, is this silly bird food. Ah, get! He moved out of the area respectfully. He's done what he was supposed to. He's back in the deep woods. Everything's good again.
Steve takes the opportunity to reinforce the young bear's obedient behavior.
Are you starting to learn? The monotone I use with the bears lets them know whether or not he's on my terms or we're on his terms. And I'm laying on the ground, I'm being submissive to him. He's out in the thick forest, he's under the canopy. He's in no trouble at all. I compare it to raising my son, or even when I have to reprimand my son, I'm loving on him the very next minute. These bears can understand that exact same principle. All right. All right. As long as the bear does the right thing, then we're back to the relationship that we were having before that incident. All right. Sleepy.
This bear seems to finally be learning how to live in town, but there are still 2 other bears who have a long way to go.
Thank you very much for calling. I'll be en route right now.
One of the young bears has really crossed the line.
This morning, I woke up to a bunch of racket and realized that the bear had actually squeezed itself through this little window. I didn't even know that this window was opened, and as soon as the bear squeezed out, it actually turned around and tried to go back in. So bear strips are down.
She had assembled nail boards to put outside of her windows and doors to keep the bear from standing up on its back legs and hopping in the window.
And the unfortunate thing is that the bear has been rewarded by coming in my house, so essentially my house is kind of like a calling card at this point. think also the fact that my house is in proximity to this campground doesn't really help too much either.
If that bear comes today, call me immediately.
Yeah, I will.
All right.
Breaking into homes is a serious offense. Steve needs to find the bear and teach him a lesson, fast. He heads to the nearby campground. The bear has taken refuge in a tree.
The dogs put him up there. Anytime a bear is afraid or concerned or hears a loud noise, he's going to tree every time. And being at this age, they spend half of their day up in the tree.
Oh, look at him. How cool.
Look at him put his chin up on his head.
As long as I keep him up there, part of the punishment, all these people that have been gathered around, the dogs that were here on scene, it makes them very uncomfortable.
And keeping the bear uncomfortable is the plan. It's the only way to teach the bear that being around people is dangerous.
I feel sorry.
I do.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
All right, you guys, everybody get a photo? Yep. All right, thank you. Have a good night. Make sure your camp is clean, okay? Check your cars, make sure there's no food. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Once the crowd is cleared, Steve focuses all his energy on the bear and getting him out of the tree.
It's all right, come on down, let's go.
To move the bear, Steve mimics the sound a sow would make to her cub.
It's a very guttural tone that comes down below her throat. I'll use that to calm young bears. I've done it so many times with so many bears.
As the bear moves down, Steve approaches the tree armed with pepper spray, a potent aerosol that overwhelms the senses but wears off quickly.
Come on. Come on. Poor little guy, I don't want to hurt him, but this has got to end.
The bear bites into a tree branch, signaling his level of anxiety.
So we're just playing cat and mouse. He's going to try to come down again right now. It is nasty, nasty stuff. I hate to... That's some nasty stuff. The bears hate it. He really... There was a little puff of wind right then, and so we got a little back spray. But yeah, the bears have to learn that people are mean. They'll spray them, they'll run them over with their cars, they'll kill them, they'll shoot them, they'll entrap them. And he doesn't get it, but he just has to learn, or he'll die.
Since the pepper spray missed the bear, Steve must try again.
I'll stand here for as long as it takes. I'll do it for days or weeks.
This time, he stands by with a shotgun loaded with rubber buckshot.
Come on. Go on, get! You bad bear! Go on, get! Just the noise of the shotgun racking, it's all a non-lethal deterrent for the bear. Like a dog or a child, Hopefully he can learn and become a member of our community, and these problems won't be an issue.
Ten weeks into the season, the big bears have moved in and the younger bears are pushed out of the prime feeding areas. The 3 young bears Steve has been working with are staying out of trouble, at least for now.
7, next 76, roger.
Steve gets a late-night bear call for a shocking incident unlike anything he's encountered before.
What happened right here?
One injured victim with 2 puncture wounds to the right arm.
A wounded man claims he was knocked over by a small bear.
They got knocked over, and then when did you realize that you had a hole in your arm?
Oh, it was sore, so I just took off I had a jacket on, I just took the jacket on, I didn't my shirt was bloody.
Did he bite you on?
I don't know what it is. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to, because there's no real puncture wounds in the.
Sure looks like a puncture.
Huh?
Well, this one here.
No, through the jacket. This is just a scratch, I think.
It's Don, huh?
Yeah.
Thank you, Don. I appreciate your patience, but this is really concerning to us.
But I really do think I spooked him.
He's come for the arts festival, and he is selling his wares, which is pottery, and this event happened.
I was just walking down here from the restrooms, right? And I came across right here, and I heard a growl. And I turned, I don't even know which way I turned, and then that's when he just, boom, hit me.
It could be that he startled the bear or frightened the bear. The bear was just bowling him over to get out of harm's way.
And then after he hit you, I hit the table. I slammed into the table and fell down. That's
Where do you think you hit the table?
Where did I?
Here,
My
right?
arm.
Yeah. We need to get him down to the medics.
The man's description and the mysterious puncture wounds don't add up.
A lot of times they push. They could have stabbed him. Could have just been a stab.
I think it's a canine bite.
Yeah.
Paramedics arrive on scene and confirm Steve's suspicions.
He told me that they're 3/8 of an inch deep, and it's a bite and not a claw mark. Serious.
I haven't seen a bear bite up here. It's the first one. Usually they run away. They seem to get a little more aggressive.
And that behavior is not tolerated by anyone in the town of Mammoth Lakes.
If the bear's on scene in just the next 30 minutes, he'll be shot on sight.
The one that attacked the guy.
But identifying the bear responsible isn't easy.
We don't use collars or ear tags or telemetry on our bears, and so I'd hate to see the wrong bear shot right now. The RP is describing a small, dark, 150-pound bear that would be one of the knuckleheads. These bears are very, very powerful, and what they would do just to nip you would cause an injury like that.
Police are on the lookout for any bear that matches the description of the young bears.
We had already made that decision that if we could locate that bear in a timely manner, that bear was going to be taken out. And we would be justified in doing so. People versus animals, you know, I go on the side of people every time.
The bear returns to where the event happened. We'll hear the shot. He'll shoot the bear immediately.
This thing charges me. I'm going to open it up with beanbags. And Jesse, I expect you'll be right behind me.
We have a local officer with probably 5 or 6 rounds on non-lethal beanbags. The other officer is a marksman training officer that is on scene with a high-powered rifle. And if the bear returns to where the event happened, he'll shoot the bear immediately.
While police officers patrol the area, Steve investigates what might have provoked the bear.
That's the attraction right there.
A snack bar vendor from the arts festival left out food.
This is just these people come from out of town, and this is just prime food for the bears here. And so they bait them in, and somebody got hurt tonight. This is flour, sugar, granulated garlic, coconut milk. This is what started the whole thing. The bear was taking advantage of that food source, and as the gentleman was walking through the venue in the middle of the night, he scared the bear. The bear only had one way out. That guy, unfortunately, was in his way and was knocked over and ended up with 2 holes in his arm.
Steve and the police comb the area, but the bear is nowhere to be found.
The mess still hasn't been cleaned up. The food's still on site, but the bear wasn't seen directly after the event. As every hour ticks by, he will buy himself time on this earth.
We waited for the bear to return and kind of cruised the area, and it was gone.
"24 hours after a man suffered a rare bear bite, he's okay. Steve returns to the site, determined to not have a repeat incident.
This is ground zero. This is where it all occurred last night. The gentleman who was nipped by the bear is right here behind me, and I think I owe him at least that to make sure a bear doesn't come anywhere near here tonight.
And it doesn't take long for Steve to spot a bear nearby.
I'm gonna turn my light on him and walk up a few feet, and I'm gonna hopefully shoot him multiple times for even being here. If this other young bear comes here, I'm gonna treat him the same way too. Get out of here! We fired off some rubber rounds to let the bear know to run away from people. Mono 1, Wildlife 1. I fired 3 more non-lethal rounds at the same location in case you get a call.
Copy, 3 non-lethal.
And I dare say the bear, won't be back very soon.
It is my belief to this day that as that bear was ricocheting off the guy, that he did nip him in the arm. The bear didn't return. It was just a freak collision in the middle of the night.
The bear bite remains an isolated incident. In the weeks following that night, Steve continued to carefully monitor the 3 young bears. Today, all are alive and well, thanks to Steve and his dedication.
I see things that are magical. They are the most positive images that anybody could witness, and maybe an hour later, I have to go to calls that, gosh, are not good at all.
We okay? We gonna work together tomorrow? All right, go back to sleep if you agree. Mono 1, Wildlife 1.
Wildlife 1, Mono 1.
I'll be en route right now, then I'll be on scene just in a moment.
More cabins are broken into.
In Mammoth Lakes, California,
he came right to our window.
One bear turns everything upside down.
The bear comes up, breaks in windows, breaks in doors.
Only the man they call the Bear Whisperer knows just how far this bear will go.
That just gave me shivers up my spine, that she could be alive and wreak havoc like she did a year ago. Are you all right, ma'am?
It's like a crazed animal at this point.
What it did to our community, what it did to me, it was all just shattering.
And in the town that loves its bears,
it's all right, good girl.
No one thought it would come to this. There she is.
You got a good shot at it, right?
Mammoth Lakes, a mountain resort town located in the middle of some of California's last true wilderness.
We happen to live in God's country. We're a day's walk from Yosemite. It's just paradise up here, and so the people know it, and the bears know it too.
The Mammoth Lakes area is very popular with black bears, and the residents down there have really taken to these bears. They feel that those are their bears, and rightfully so. I mean, they learn to live with these bears, and They become residents of the community just as, the humans that live in the area are.
As the town's wildlife patrol officer, it's Steve Searles' job to teach bears to be respectful of people and their houses. A bear that encroaches on either can end up being killed by authorities.
No. Move away.
He relates to bears and is able to convince them not to get into people's territory in a dangerous way. He teaches them how to live with people, and he's been teaching people how to live with bears.
From the minute the bears emerge from winter hibernation, Steve is on patrol.
They've lost approximately 50 to 60% of their body weight surviving through the winter. So when they wake up in the spring, they're motivated entirely by food. They will wake up in the morning and they spend their entire day searching out food sources.
The cycle of life that we see in Mammoth, the sows and cubs, the lessers, come in the very first in the spring for the food sources that are available in town.
They're welcome in Mammoth, as long as they don't forget their bears.
We're about 200 yards from my house. It's one of my favorite places in town. And the bears come here and hang out. They have everything they need: safety, food, water, and habitat.
Natural food is good. Human food is bad. It's especially important to keep mothers, called sows, away from people food.
Get out of there! Hey, get out of there! You naughty bear! None of that!
Sows teach their cubs how to eat and how to forage in a very peculiar way. The sow will eat an item, and then at the same time, the cub is watching what the sow is eating. The cub will come over to the sow and will sniff her breath. And since they have such an immense sense of smell, that registers in their brain in the memory banks that whatever mom just ate must be good food. And they'll recall on that memory at a later date and time to identify whether something's food or not.
If a cub's memory banks register people food as good, it won't know how to find natural food and won't know how to teach its own cubs down the line.
The longer we work with them and keep them alive, the smarter they get and the more learned they are about the ways of man. Stay out of traffic, stay out of cabins, stay out of garages, stay out of cars.
But each year, there are some bears who just don't get it. Every morning, Steve checks on the bears in town to make sure they're okay. Today, he is one step behind a young sow and her cub.
Hello. Hi, good girl. Knowing the topography and geography of the area and where the roads lie, I could see that the bears were going to cross Lake Mary Road, and so I went up there and waited for them so that they could maybe cross a little bit safer. Cars do get going pretty fast right there. Here we go, here we go. As far as doing traffic control for my bears, it happens, on a regular basis. I wish I could be there every time a bear crosses the road. She's right here, right on top. 99% of the time they cross safely. The other times, it's most often fatal. It's all right. It's all right. There you go. Go get your baby. There you go. There you go. Pick her up. Let's go. Come on.
But the sow doesn't bring the cub back with her. Something's caught her attention.
Where are you going? She was absolutely going somewhere. She wasn't fooling around. You could really see she had her nose up in the air and was, on a mission.
20 minutes later.
All right, so you're in 9, the bears are at 5. I'll be en route right now. Thank you very much for calling.
Steve finds out exactly where the two were headed.
Mono 1, Wildlife 1.
Wildlife 1, Mono 1.
Can you show me code 4, 10-6, Lower Falls Tract?
Code 4, 10-6, Lower Falls Tract.
The sow and cub were just trying to break into a cabin, and so we're going to respond up here
and see if it's so that she's trying to bust in would be a bad thing. Hi. Good, how are you, sir? And you saw the bears?
Oh yeah, it was a mama and a very young cub.
These old cabins up here, you know, close to 100 years old, they were built as fishing homes. They're all single pane windows. They're easy to break into. It's kind of a target-rich environment. Hello? Did I see by the sow's body posturing and her nose in the air that she was on her way to commit a misdemeanor? Did I know she was going to break up a door jamb today? No, I'm not that good.
For now, there's not much Steve can do. The bears have left the area.
I need to catch them red-handed, and anything 5 minutes or longer after the act, I'll just pass on it. The bear won't have a clue what's going on, and I don't roll that way.
Steve will work with a bear for any number of reasons.
Get out of there!
He uses non-lethal techniques to keep them away from crowds.
You bad bear!
To move them out of dangerous areas. And to let them know where they can and cannot search for food.
Get out of there! You bad bear!
I have dozens of tools at my disposal, everything from doing nothing and observing through pepper spray, pyrotechnics, flashbang devices, audio devices, things that smell, things that whistle, impact devices, rubber bullets. Every situation's different, and my job is to do the very best thing I can for the people and the bears.
Copy that, thank you.
Less than 24 hours after the sow and cub's attempted break-in, there's another bear report. This time, the bear got in.
I have no tolerance for busting up homes. It really pisses me off when bears do this. Did you folks just get here?
We just got here. I saw glass. I looked at the window, it was broken. I'm like, that's odd. I thought we were robbed. The kitchen is completely trashed. Food everywhere, the refrigerator open, banged up, soda cans, things I didn't even know what they were, ripped open, tons of bite marks.
I can see the slobber from the bear, and so you can pretty much estimate, you know, just from my height, the height of the bear on this single pane window. It's a front paw print and a rear paw print. It's going to be an adult bear with this set right here. And if you look, the bear came in and out more than once. And unfortunately, I'm guessing that's a cub print right there.
97, A-frame like.
A bear bringing her cub into this house. It's just terrible. The bear was in here more than once. Stealing is a bad thing. Mothers teach their bears, and teaching them how to break into homes will just lead to them getting killed.
So you think they smelled and not saw? They smelled something?
Their sense of smell is miles and miles, not just hundreds of yards. And they know whether there's pizza in the fridge or whatever. They're very, very strong power smell. Your nose is just to hold your glasses on. It doesn't even work in comparison to a bear.
Wow. So should I be worried about the bacon in my car right now?
The bacon's got to come out of the car right now. Yeah,
Bear break-ins in Mammoth are rare. But last year, a bear named Blondie changed everything.
Blondie was responsible for 51 different entries of homes in about a half a square mile. It was expensive homes, lower-end homes, cabins, never a tent, never a trash can. She knew to walk right to the refrigerator, open the refrigerator and the freezer, and help herself.
Blondie caused so much property damage, she became headline news. Authorities had no choice. They issued a shoot-to-kill permit.
I never, ever saw that bear for the entire rest of the year, and it was just an incredible thing that the bear just disappeared off the map, never seen again.
Mono 1, Wallace 1, 97.
Now it looks like another bear with a cub is picking up where Blondie left off. Same patterns, same locations.
Woman's home alone. 10-4, copy.
A half-mile from the last break-in, the sow and cub are trying to get into another home. This time, the house is occupied.
Hello? Are you all right, ma'am? Where are they at?
There's nothing out here?
No, ma'am. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I was
All
trying
right.
to get through a window out there.
All right. Bears should not be pulling on anybody's window, especially an occupied home. I take it very seriously, you know, to get a bear shot. I wish I got here sooner, and I would have dealt with it right then, and we're just a few minutes behind the call. It was on the ground, and it was facing you, and it was biting on your window.
And the baby was right in between all those little trees there.
All right, thank you very, very much. Mono 1, Wildlife 1. I'm gonna be 98 from the call, report taken. The bears are UTL, but I'll be patrolling the area for the next hour or so.
Within a half hour, Steve gets the tip he's been hoping for.
We had a call from one of my neighbors out here and let us know that the sow and cub was lurking around again. And if I can catch her red-handed, it'd be just great. Straight up this way?
Yeah, right up the hill.
I think we're hot on her trail, and again, no offense to her, but she has been acting up a little bit, and done correctly, aversive conditioning can change her habits for life.
Copy, so.
There you go. Pardon.
Steve stays a short distance away from the bears, hoping to catch them attempting another break-in. But then, neighborhood dogs frighten the bears. The sow runs one way, the cub heads up the nearest tree. With the sow and cub separated, Steve shifts his efforts from punishing the bear to reuniting her with her cub.
We got 3 dogs on the bear right now. We got a baby cub right here at 10 feet. She can't leave the cub here. You guys could keep your dogs with you?
Yeah. Totally.
Cub is just right behind us, a little 8-pounder.
Yeah.
We have to hook them back up. She can hear you. She's on her way. Here she comes. All right, all right. Hurry up. It's all right. Come get that cub. Go ahead. Call her down. You're all right. Go home. Go on. Go home. Go home. Go home. Let's go. Good dogs. Go home. Go on. Go on. Get. We almost had it down and reunite these guys. Those dogs just got loose again, which kind of irks me. But good dogs just, you know, charging after the bear, and that's what dogs do.
Finally, after 40 minutes,
here she comes. Move the sows down. Here's the baby coming down. There you go. Come on.
You're all right. You're okay. You're all right.
The sow and cub reach the ground, but there's still a lesson to be learned.
She was walking away at a slow speed instead of running away.
Bears need to learn to be afraid of people. That's my job sometimes, is to professionally be mean to bears.
Get out of here! Go on, get!
Steve shoots at the sow, not the cub.
Go on! Get out of here! Go on! I lit her up and gave her a rubber ball on the ass. 101 Wildlife 1. I just fired 2 deterrent rounds on this sow out on Woodman Street. We're code 4. Just FYI if you get somebody calling in. They are non-lethal rubber rounds, light fields, and they work just great. It's a soft rubber, and just reach out and tap her and let her know she's in the wrong place at the wrong time. Don't be walking around midday checking windows. We'll treat you like any other perpetrator in our town.
Steve measures his success with the bears by their actions. 24 hours after shooting rubber bullets at the sow and cub, they're staying away from homes and eating their natural food in the forest. It looks like the aversive conditioning is working.
Wow, I mean, this is what it's all about. When we get them to practice more of this behavior and less human action behavior, my job is, I'm the luckiest guy in the world.
In the quiet of the forest, Steve gets his first close-up look at the sow.
These young bears are difficult to identify sometimes with them shedding out and changing colors. This one's a two-tone bear, a little bit unusual. It's a 3.5-year-old female. She came out of hibernation with 2 cubs. One died right away early in the spring, and then she was left with 1 cub. She entered at least 3 different homes while she had her cub. One of the really odd things is that the homes are all being vandalized in the daytime.
Steve begins to piece together everything he knows about this bear. It all seems eerily familiar.
The size makes sense. Her age makes sense. Every single thing indicates that it's the bear who entered all the homes. Last year, Blondie, that she could be alive and wreak havoc, that just gave me shivers up my spine. Dark head, dark legs, blonde straps and back blonde highlights. That hasn't changed much other than the blonde continues to darken, but those same basic color patterns, same age, same sex, same homes that are being broken into. Blondie never went in a single home at night. She only went in homes in the daytime, which made it even more offensive.
When Blondie first appeared, she was an orphan cub who had to learn how to survive on her own.
The bear's been staying out of trouble, but did enter this home last week through an open window. That's just terrible for a bear to learn those lessons. This bear is going to grow up to be a big, huge bear. And if we don't train him correctly from the start, then we get what we deserve. I'm sorry, buddy. Feeling good, huh?
The bear just got in the habit of going into houses that were open, all soft entries, open sliding glass doors, open windows, and it would go straight to the fridge, right past the trash can, and help itself to ice cream or fine cheeses. Guava was a favorite. People weren't afraid of it. They didn't report what she was doing, and they would just shoo her out of the house. Go on, you cute bear, and keep the cookies. And so it went unchecked and unreported dozens of times. What are you doing here? Hey, what are you doing here? You bad bear. You bad bear. No more. It was just a really, really bad example of loving on bears too much. People just went out of their way to protect her. The bear came out of den last year and proceeded to inner homes. Again, they were all soft entries in a half a square mile, 51 times it entered homes. Go on, get out of here! I just could not put a stop to it. Rubber bullets, flashbang, pyrotechnics, the food reward, and the people doting over that bear outweighed me being mean to the bear. The bears left the area.
But there was another issue hampering Steve's efforts to teach Blondie. Mammoth Lakes borders federal forest land.
Steve's area of responsibility is within the 4 square miles of our town, where Steve can use all of his techniques and efforts to dissuade bears and try and change their behavior patterns.
When Blondie raided homes outside Steve's jurisdiction, he was powerless to stop the behavior.
Really, it was quite evident that Blondie was going to push the envelope until somebody had to shoot her.
A shoot-to-kill permit was issued for Blondie, but then, as if the bear could sense it, Blondie disappeared, and the shoot-to-kill permit expired.
I spent hundreds and hundreds of hours trying to locate her or her carcass, and was unsuccessful. It was really odd, but the bear never showed up again.
Until now. And though she's broken into 3 cabins, Steve doesn't punish her. For the moment, she's not breaking any of the rules.
We reward our bears by silence and privacy for doing the right thing. It looks like she wants to suckle and feed her cub. And so we're just about to back out of here and we'll leave her alone. But she's being a good bear and it's great to see.
For 3 days, there are no reports of Blondie and her cub.
Marty, copy Wildlife 1.
I was on patrol and the car in front of me came to an abrupt stop, so I stopped to see what the problem was. You could tell he was rattled. I walked up to the car. He wouldn't even roll the window down at first. Then he cracked it and told me that a car coming the opposite way up towards Lake Mary had just missed the mom bear and hit a cub right in front of him.
Marty, how long you been here?
Just about 5 minutes. I just missed it.
The little cub got rolled behind its mom. The mom is presumably on scene. It was dragging the bear off the road, and not good at all, but we'll see if we can help a little bit. I can hear the sow and hear the cub. She's absolutely on scene, Marty. You got lethal on you?
Yes.
Yeah.
The bear was moving like 20 feet each way. You can hear it go down a little bit, come up the hill a little bit. You know, it was moving around like it was pacing back and forth, you know. Sounds like about where that pine is right.
That's what I'm thinking too, Marty. You're right on top of it.
We got out spotlights and started looking right off the roadway for the bear. It was right within 5 feet of us.
She's, yeah, down to my left now. Right here, Marty. Oh, that's your sow. All right, good girl. All right, she's got it. Hello, good bear. The cub, she's looking to her right. The cub's to her right. Hello, good girl. Oh.
Is she coming towards us or is she going down?
No, she's probably trying to revive them. Okay, okay. This is a really steep slope right here. Watch yourself now. Watch yourself. Okay. Me. Where we can't work through this brush, that bear can come through here faster than the fastest human on Earth. You need to be careful when you're dealing with an injured bear. The cub is, you know, is all right. Uh-oh. Oh. Oh. I don't hear the cub. I'm guessing it's 11:44. Oh. Oh, boy. Son of a bitch. The cub died while we were there,
and we could hear its vocalization stop. She's mooing over a dead cub, not a live one. Shoot. I hear ya. I hear ya.
The mom was just mourning, and haven't heard her sound like that before.
I can't say what she's thinking. I could only hear her wailing in grief. Oh, girl. Oh, man. I wish I could help that thing more. You have a really, really anxious sow that's just lost her young, and for the safety of everyone involved, we're going to lay back off this scene. How friggin' sad.
Thanks, Steve.
I share in her grief. I've seen it go on for, you know, we're done filming, guys. I didn't sleep at all, and the thoughts that went through my mind and the images, I replayed it a few times last night. I have personal experience of people losing their children. It will ruin the rest of your life. All of this has been trampled down, and obviously the bear went through here. 51% of all black bears die before they're 18 months old. It is something that bears have to deal with all the time. I don't see any blood or hair or the body of the young bear, and kind of happy for that. She must have dealt with it in her own way, and we won't have to do any body recovery today. I see some of the most beautiful things, you know, that anyone could ever imagine, and I also see some of the most horrendous, and it can happen an hour apart. You know, I'm the luckiest guy in the world, and some days suck.
Blondie disappears. Steve is now monitoring the big bears who have come into town and taken over the prime feeding areas. Like the bear who's made a local golf course his home, Steve calls him Half Bib.
We call him that because of the big blaze on his chest. It looks like a bib. He comes out about this time every evening and enjoys the cool grass. Have a poop and a pee and a little bit of food and water. He's a no harm, no foul bear. He's never caused any problems in Mammoth. I can't document a single 911 call that we were on with that bear. You can set your clock by his habits, and his habits are all good habits. And we'll give him all the room he needs. In the summer, he does try to hold space in some of the most prime habitat, and in this case, he can hold his own in the golf course and makes a good living there on the grass, the flowers, the wasps, the insects, the larvae. It's just a really rich place for food. He's not so nervous around people, but other bears, and so his nose is constantly working, making sure that there's not other male dominant bears in the area. Tonight there's not, and so he's got the place to himself.
I'm a big guy. I'm a big guy.
He isn't habituated, but does he know the ways of man, the traffic patterns, what time the bars close? He sure does. And he's a great example of the bears that we want to keep alive in Mammoth.
But not all bears play by the rules of Mammoth Lakes.
There's a bear in a cabin up at Twin Lakes, cabin number 4.
Here's the entry spot, and the bear went in and out a couple of times, and then just before you got here, headed up the back trail. Just kind of ripped the side off, and looks like it hopped on the bed and went in.
Bear was in here for a while. Can you see the blonde colored hair? Could you describe him for me?
It's not a big, super mature looking bear to me, but it's not a little guy either. She has some pictures here, Steve.
You could scroll through.
Oh, no. This is Blondie.
4415, 4411.
3 weeks after Blondie's cub was killed by a car, the bear is out of control,
He came right to our window.
raiding multiple houses daily.
I looked up, and there it was by that big tree, just looking at the cabin. I said,
looking at
there
you,
he
huh?
is. And we know that bear. It's that young bear that's the baby was killed.
After her cub was killed, she had more free time and started a new rash of burglaries. A cub in tow is a restraint. She doesn't have that restraint anymore.
Blondie's now able to travel faster and farther. She moves outside of town back to land controlled by the federal government, the same area where she caused so much damage a year before. Steve is powerless to do anything. It's beyond his jurisdiction.
I was ordered to stand down in those areas with any type of tool that I might use on a bear. Copy that. We'll be documenting?
I guess.
A letter was served to the city council, the police department, and to myself, stating that I was not welcome to work with bears, lethal or non-lethal, anywhere in those tracts of cabins.
But Steve isn't prohibited from being there, and he wants to monitor the situation.
Look at every one of these has got bear prints all over them from the same bear trying to push it in.
This is the 5th one on the block I know of. Not cool.
6 more cabins are broken into.
The owner of the lodge at Twin Lakes, he's had 8 or 9 entries with dogs in the house, with people in the house. This is happening, every day now.
The scene is so typical, cupboards opened, refrigerator opened, all the good sweet food gone.
I think we're up to 17 or 18 cabins now up in the Lakes Basin in probably 3/4 of a square mile.
They get pretty aggressive and pretty confident once they succeed. It was not easy to shoo it away. And usually I can shoo them. And now I just feel we're all in jeopardy.
We love the bears, and we hate to see anything bad happen to them, but my view is you do everything you can, and if there's nothing else you can do, then sometimes you have to get rid of it.
What it did to our community, what it did to me, what it did to the reputation of the town, it was all just shattering. People were just horrified both ways. The people that wanted the bear killed, the people that didn't want the bear killed, the people that are in the middle of the road, the politicians. It was just absolutely insane.
Bear comes up, pulls off the shutters, breaks in windows, breaks in doors, throws things everywhere.
Don't be discouraged from picking up the phone.
Yeah, but your police cannot do anything
No.
to get rid of the bear.
If the bear breaks into that cabin and I'm in there and I shoot that bear, what happens?
Do I have that right to actually use a firearm in my home?
It's probably too late to save her now, and something needs to be worked out because we're here leaving our cabins up there vulnerable to that bear still.
We have done everything that we know, and still right now we have a road bear.
Could the bear bowl somebody over, escaping from a residence? That part was very, very possible. As hard as it is, I needed to admit defeat with that bear.
To destroy a bear, law enforcement needs what's called a depredation permit.
We had a summer home owner get a depredation permit from the California Department of Fish and Game, which is a process that allows a homeowner to either remove themselves or contract with someone to remove a nuisance animal.
She usually went in places that weren't occupied and that were shuttered up, and she would just tear the shutters off, push in the windows. And that's what made her such a dangerous bear, because there was no protection. I mean, if your shuttered cabin doesn't protect you from a bear, then you have no defense.
Steve wants to be the one to take the shot.
I have gone public asking permission to take the life of this young bear. I have a huge connection with this particular bear. I've spent countless hours dealing with this. If you're not prepared to remove a certain bear out of the population, then you shouldn't be in this line of work.
But the permit is for property outside of Mammoth city limits.
That bear is in a jurisdictional mess and is on the other side of an imaginary line that the Forest Service owns that property, and it's not within the 4 square miles of town proper, then I'm not allowed to do my work. And boy, am I pissed off.
By law, the destruction of the bear falls to federal government trappers who will capture and euthanize her. Relocation is against California Fish and Game policy.
We have multiple tools at our disposal that we can use in order to capture a wild bear. We have culvert traps or large cage traps that will put some type of a bait inside, usually a food source that bears are accustomed to.
When the bear crawls into the culvert and grabs that bait, it releases the doors and they slam shut, and then they lock, and then that bear is trapped inside the culvert trap. And, you know, typically they're euthanized with a firearm.
Bears being shot in the head in live traps bothers me, and especially when it could be prevented. Whatever happens, we should be responsible for ourselves and for our bears. Well, that's why it says don't feed our bears instead of don't feed the bears, because they're not somebody else's bears. They're our bears, and you ought to be responsible for them, good or bad.
That night, the traps are set. Blondie never shows.
A bear is not a nocturnal bear. It only does daytime burglaries.
As every day passes, destroying her becomes a hotter issue for the community that loves its bears.
It's not black and white. There is no books written about this or laws written about this. It's to good judgment. We're all here to serve the public. And what would the public want? What would mom and dad and the normal, everyday people that aren't on scene, what would they be saying to do? Shoot. Shoot.
Steve can't do anything to save Blondie. The most he can do is help find her and make sure authorities get the right bear.
When I pulled in there, I could see that one of the cabins that was broken into last week, that the windows had been repaired. All the shutters had been torn off, the screens had torn off, the window was covered with her prints. David 1, Wildlife 1.
Wildlife 1, 4410.
Yeah, it's breaking into another cabin now.
I'm just going to confirm with you. We got the go-ahead. We're good to go.
Yes.
Okay.
We have the piece of paper. The folks who own the summer homes up here, their personal safety is my responsibility. I have to do the right thing by them. And that meant that this bear needed to be killed.
Blondie has become a public safety hazard. The bear continues her rampage. But it's daytime, and the feds aren't present. Now it falls to the Mammoth Lakes Police Department to destroy her.
I just need to know where he is.
Steve. I'm behind the Olson cabin. We're probably 300 yards up from where my truck is.
The more of us that are moving through here, the more noise we're gonna make. So we need everybody just kind of slow down and be conscious of that. There she is. There she is.
You got a good shot at it, right?
My thoughts were to make it clean, to make it safe, and to just get the problem solved.
The bear was probably full from eating and was laying down at the base of a tree. I stayed eyes on the bear. They got locked and loaded.
We're okay. Take your time. Take your time, Karen.
No, I'm sorry. Second shot, yes?
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, everybody stand down.
Okay, I need
There we
to
go.
talk to you.
Sure.
My goodness. I was sorry that we'd gotten to the point with this animal. It's just, we have such a unique environment up here. We certainly, as human beings, have a responsibility in that we allowed the animals to get to the point where they started to look for human food instead of their own.
I got a vested interest in it. My cabin's been broken into 3 times in the last 3 weeks. Okay?
I understand
Did
that,
you get him?
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And she's actually a she. And yes, sir.
Is that
we
the
did.
way? That's the one. We're really happy that the authorities came here and took care of this guy. It's too bad, but it's tough.
You know, they can be smart about those.
Yeah.
Or it might have taken her a day to go in, but, you know. California Department of Fish and Game wildlife biologists will take the carcass. They're responsible for disposing of the body.
For the time being, I've taken possession of the bear. Maybe collect our thoughts before we turn the bear over to be put in the landfill. None of this had to happen this way. It's I'm not a religious man, but I think I'm a spiritual man, and the Native Americans taught me to follow their lead and make an offering to this guy, help this guy along a little bit best we can.
Mono 1, Wildlife 1.
Wildlife 1.
Can you show me 98 from the Lakes Basin?
Sounds fine.